Hello everyone, and welcome to Lost in AppliEpisode, episode 43. I'm May.
And I'm Jay.
And this week we watched Appmon episode 43. Wake up, Sleepmon! The Appmon Championship reopening. And just before we start, I want to apologize for my voice. I'm glad for our actual main episode that we recorded last night, my voice wasn't terrible, but unfortunately for the three things that we're recording today, which is Lane, this Appmon episode, and Obnoxious Synopsis for episode 115, my voice is terrible. So I'm so sorry about that. Alright, what were your favorite bits, Jay?
My favorite parts of this episode were, I like the championships thing at the beginning, which was, all the Digimon doing their stuff, and we can cover that individually and what people did and all that stuff, and it was cute. But what was interesting was that it misled you into thinking that's what the episode would be, and that it'd be a big filler episode. But then halfway through, it became a normal episode again, and we got a massive information dump about what Leviathan's motive is, what their plan is, what they're trying to do, who Bootmon is. Just straight up tells you what was going on with Hajime, why they transformed him. It told you almost everything.
Yeah.
If there is only one mystery left, and that is what is going on with Eugen.
Well, actually, my other mystery is that we know that Leviathan basically gave them Hajime, so I want to know why.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Oh, no,
right.
okay, I have a theory of why.
Why?
Because Hajime probably can get to Bootmon, so I think they're going to now look for Bootmon.
Yeah.
And then Leviathan's going to show up and say, ha, this was all according to my plan.
I think that's fair. So, you could argue that Hajime's usefulness was done. I thought for a moment that the plan would be that because Hajime can't be turned back, that Rei would be satisfied enough having the Sleepmon and then would be off the team.
Because he has to be a dad.
Yeah, exactly. But that'd be lame. It just seemed like how it was going. So yeah, I think you're probably right about Hajime, the kids leading Leviathan to Bootmon, probably. That makes sense. But assuming you're correct, that means the only real mystery
is Eugen, yeah.
Is Eugen. What is going on with him? Obviously, Hajime doesn't know anything about it. So what's his deal? He doesn't fit into this plan anywhere. So he's either like a trump card, or there's more going on with him and we just don't know. But otherwise, this totally explains everything.
Yes, which is good. And Appmon did the thing where you ask the question and then the TV show immediately answers it.
Which one was that?
It was when Hajime starts talking about Leviathan and Rei says, how do you know all this? But that was just after you saying, how does he know all this?
Yeah. And okay, so we should cover the sort of problem with this, which I don't really like. We'll go into we'll do it in negatives. Ugh. Anyway, so the plan is that Leviathan is going to turn all humans into apps, and you go, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense, because then you can't have any free will there, probably, and everyone's virused up, and Leviathan will rule everybody, and you get that. It's much more direct, and also it's a bit of like an end of the world scenario, and also it shows that Naito was wrong. Naito was never, when he was thinking of a world where Leviathan would rule everybody, and it would be a nice, awesome world, he thought it would be the human world still.
Yes. Well, he was wrong, but he was also a pawn, so maybe exactly. Leviathan told him that was the case?
Probably. And so there's this human app project, which is a nice, terrifying idea. And then, I don't know, there was the championships themselves, which was cute.
It was so cute.
And there were people who wanted to be Aries #1 fan.
And I love that. And Coachman was like, well, obviously I'm the #1 because I was training her to be the top idol.
Oh, I forgot. No, okay, my actual favorite thing.
Gachimon Googling?
No, although that was pretty good.
That was so good. We both popped for that because we haven't seen him do it for so long.
Yeah, but I want to see Haru be the one who's Googling something, because he's actually good at it. It shows that when Gachimon does it himself, he sucks.
Yeah, he's just like, you shouldn't wake the child. Don't wake the child. Don't wake the child.
Whereas I really liked when Musimon sees DJmon again. Oh, sorry, MCmon. And then he looks at at Eri, and goes, say it! Say the thing! And she goes, fine. What, are you guys related or something? And they go, no, we just look alike.
I love it
so much. They just get it.
Much.
They just know that that's a running joke.
I also like how Musimon and Astra were singing a lullaby to Sleepmon to wake him up.
And it almost worked.
Yeah, almost.
Even
it's
though
so cute.
Musimon can't sing for some reason. He really does very little stuff with music, doesn't
raps.
he? Oh god, you're right, he does.
Yo, yo, yo! I love him so much.
Pants rip!
That was last episode.
That was the last time he did that. My yo-yo fist style.
I love him so much. I love the Atmon so much. And it was really great to see them all interact.
Yeah, and also Navimon still hates Gatchmon, and then he fails once and you never see him again.
Actually, I thought of my other favourite.
Yeah?
So one of the prizes is the 3-star review by Reviewmon. Everyone's like, yeah. And then the other prize is that Ray will give you all these choo-choo jelly.
A year's worth.
And Ray's smiling. He's like, it's a worthy, it's worth it.
The joke I thought of in my head, with forgetting that the idea was waking up Hajime, was that you'd turn to Ray, he's like, no, my choo-choo jelly! But no, it makes sense. Of course he would put this up. And I also like that all the Atmon were like, what? No, we don't want that. Everyone hates it.
Yeah, Ray loves it though. Ray is such a good child. Do you have any other favourites?
I think we've covered it all in the broad strokes, honestly.
Okay, on to negatives then.
Okay, so my two primary negatives are, one, the human app project is a cool idea, but if all the humans stop existing, maybe you could run it with robots.
I feel like AI could be taught to program themselves.
Yeah, but because it's just like one of those, okay, well, all the phones would run out of power eventually, you know? And all the infrastructure would fall apart. But I guess if L Corp's got enough robots going on, maybe they could be self-sustaining. Okay, but my primary negative is how weird it was. So the irony initially of Hajime getting captured, right, was Ray sees this competition thing and works out all the clues, and he goes there, and his brother just runs ahead. And because he runs ahead, because he's a small child, he gets caught, and Leviathan thinks he was the number one, right? To make Hajime useful, they had to make him a secret genius that Ray never knew about.
Yeah,
Why would Ray have never known his brother was a genius? I didn't like that
either. I feel like he would have picked up on it, or it would have been mentioned at some point. Like, oh, my brother's also a genius.
Yeah, he never said any of that.
It's weird considering he was basically his guardian.
Exactly. He's just like, oh, I never knew you were a genius. Even like you became one that day. Also, the brother would solve all the clues without mentioning it to Ray at all for whatever reason.
Because Hajime seems like an honest, cute, quiet little kid, and I feel like he would have told his older brother this.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned that this part feels like, I don't know how long ago they came up with this, but it feels like they had a good idea and then they needed to make the idea work.
Well, it explains why it said, congratulations, number one, Hajime.
Yeah.
Because he was one of the entrants.
True, but it would have been, number one was the first person to make it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You had to be invited, you had to be like one of the geniuses on their list.
We didn't know he was invited.
Well, it makes sense that while it was saying congratulations number one and not congratulations guy who's also in the door.
It could be, but I don't know. He was making a picture of Ray at the time. It was so deliberately misleading. You know, if Ray had been like, my genius brother, I miss him, you know, just make a point that he was intelligent. They just never bothered.
Okay, no, I get your point.
And I understand this because they didn't want you to figure any of this out, but they did a good job of showing you Sleepmon beforehand that it's so weird they didn't foreshadow this. Because we never thought anything special of Hajime, and now he's the most special kid.
Yeah, he seemed like just a little brother type character.
Exactly. So, he was captured by Leviathan, and he was made to program Bootmon because he's the smartest and the strongest kid ever. And he programs Bootmon, then he finds out what Leviathan's up to. He only finds out that Leviathan's evil that way, not by the wrist manacle that he's got going on.
Yeah.
And trapping him to the wall.
The fact that he's been
kidnapped.
Kidnapped.
Weird. So, yeah, he makes Bootmon, and then he releases Bootmon before Leviathan can get to it. And then he is transformed into Sleepmon as a punishment. And you go, there's nothing wrong with that story. That story's absolutely fine. It just needed to foreshadow the fact that Hajime was smart.
Yes.
Because it came off as a total surprise.
Maybe have some flashbacks. It's okay, maybe if you want to keep him as a secret genius so Ray doesn't suspect anything, you can, but I think in flashbacks, we should have had something that would have slightly given us a hint that he might have been a genius. Like, yeah, Hajime never did homework, but he did really well.
Or have Ray not be totally surprised that he solved them so fast. It would have been easy enough to say, I didn't think you knew about it. Like, I was going to do it myself because, there were a lot of ways you could have made it so that it didn't sound like, you couldn't do the puzzle? Jeez, that's weird. Ray should know these things. He's the closest person to this kid in the world.
Yeah, and as I said, he's the guardian, so he should know more about this person is looking after. Even though it's his brother, he's also the guardian, so...
So, I don't like it, but it's one of those things that, whatever, you can let it go.
Yeah, you can let it go, it's fine. See, I have a negative, but I feel like it's a stupid thing to have to be a negative. I found that the last half of the episode wasn't that good because I just felt like it was just an info dump.
It was a lot.
I know it was necessary information, and I'm glad they gave it to us, but imagine you are an 8-year-old. How are you going to I could barely process this information. How is an 8-year-old?
So there was a lot going on, right? And it has a lot to do with the fact that they wanted to keep a mystery from you for 40 episodes, where they could have kept it for 30 episodes and then explained the rest of it slowly. Like, you could have explained the Hajime made it there first because he's a genius thing as a separate on a separate episode, and then explain that he made Bootmon later. There are so many ways. There are lots of ways that could have worked. I'm not saying that you should have done it that way. I thought I followed this well enough.
I know, but I have bad attention paying abilities.
Amazing.
So I followed it, but I don't know, I felt like, okay, I'm following this, but it's just a lot of, maybe it's because we were reading subtitles.
It could also be a problem.
I was reading and I was basically like, I'm just reading at this point, and there's not really many things happening on the actual screen. Sure, we get a flashback of Bootmon, but for the most part, it's just Hajime talking, and I don't know, like, I felt like a little bit bored, but not terribly bored.
I would have liked if, when Hajime was in the AR field or whatever, he interacted with Grandpa Denimon. That would have been cool.
That'd have been cool, yeah.
I don't know how that would have worked, but it would have been cool.
Miscellaneous bits, because mine are, I love the fried eggs thing.
Yeah, I like the egg. I liked how all the eggs changed in the pantry.
And burnt egg woke him up. But yeah, no, I remember like...
No, hold on. Not just burnt egg woke him up. The fact that... Because the first thing they pointed out was that Ray got better at making eggs than he did before.
Yeah.
And that was a detriment to waking up the kid.
Yes, we kept on making perfect eggs.
Stop making them perfect. Also, I feel like as he went on, he made them worse and worse. Like, he was losing concentration. Like, he made the fried egg, like, perfect. Then he made, like, an omu rice sort of looking thing.
Yeah.
And then he made another one where it was, like, split open.
Yeah.
I feel like he was making them worse.
Yeah, because Hackmon asked him, hey, what if he never turns back? And I feel like he said, I don't mind, I've still got him. But I feel like that's not actually how he felt.
Probably.
I feel like he was saying, well, it would be nice for me to have my brother as a human. So I feel like he was just dwelling on that too much.
They really had to make sure that wherever he went with Hajime strapped to him...
That was so cute.
They had to make sure there were no people around, because it would have been a weird part of the scene if everyone looked at this, like...
A stuffed toy.
What's it called? It's the thing from Final Fantasy.
The Moogle?
It looks like a Moogle.
Yeah. See, I thought that was so cute when he's like attached like a little baby. It's like Dream Daddy Simulator.
Why did he bring him? It's a
Digimon.
Digimon.
He loves him.
I
think it's in case he wakes up.
I guess. But he can be at home.
I love Sleepmon so much.
So yeah, then he woke up because he smelled stuff. And the explanation that Leviathan doesn't know what a smell is, so he didn't account for it, is clever. Because, sure, a robot wouldn't know. I thought it was too much. I'm like, maybe it's a big trap. No, it probably just is what it is.
I still think it is a trap in the long run, or at least it's part of Leviathan's plan. I mean, we did get the task complete screen.
Yeah, I think the idea that... Because we know he's looking for Bootmon and they failed so far, and maybe the idea that they'll just make the kids hunt for Bootmon on Leviathan's behalf makes perfect sense. There's nothing wrong with that.
So for ranking, I put this in 16th place out of 43.
Hey, so what's the whole ranking chart look like right now?
What do you mean?
I remember when we first started the ranking chart, I'm like, this is going to get out of hand. So right now, there's there's 43 episodes of the thing. You want to read them all out in order so everyone knows what they are? I'm joking, don't do that. I
won't. But I will tell you what's above and below it. So below this week's episode, if I could even find it, which I can't. Okay. So below this episode is the Ultimate Fierce Fighting Globemon vs. Charismon, which was episode 41, and above it is episode 15. The future is all visible, the mysterious fortune telling Telamon. What do you think, Jay?
It's probably about right.
Yeah, because I feel like it was a good episode. Like I enjoyed watching it, but I don't feel like it's the best that they've had.
Yeah, because there was the cute stuff at the start, and there was a huge info dump at the end. So you had a mix of the stuff that's great in Atmon, which is Atmon's doing cool stuff and interesting plot being unraveled, but it was all done in really isolated and sort of not unsubtle, but just really straightforward, direct ways. The most clever part of the whole episode was the egg scene.
Yeah, it made me really hungry for eggs though.
Yeah, I guess it did.
Eggs are so good. And also something I noticed is this episode felt like 2 episodes, kind of.
Well, it was, sort of.
And we just watched Layer 05, and we recorded that episode on it.
It felt like 4 episodes.
It felt like 5 minutes of one episode.
Oh, I meant in length.
Oh, in length, yeah. So next week we're watching episode 44, Chasing the Fugitive Bootmon. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on Lost in Translation on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, and YouTube. And my throat's dying, I'm sorry. Can you read the rest? I'm sorry.
Okay. I gotta find...
I'll continue that until you find it.
Alright.
We have a discussion thread on With the Will and a Reddit thread in the Atmon subreddit, and we'd really appreciate if you would review us on iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever podcast listening service that you used.
And we have a website at LostinTranslationmon.com, which you can... It's not .au, is it?
No, it's just .com.
Yeah, .com, where you can check out May's Appli ranking. You can donate to our Patreon, which is linked in the description, from as little as $1 a month. $1 a month gets you access to our listener Slack chat group, but higher levels get you exclusive notes, information, early and unedited episode recordings, the ability to suggest discussion topics, Skype calls with May and Jay, and more. Thank you to our current Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, who has a podcast called The Moncast, which talks about Pokemon and Digimon, Stevie, who is Stevie Padwan on Tumblr and is currently taking commissions, Wu Qinglong, who you can find at twitch.tv/Wu Qinglong, Metal Mamimon, Joe, Anime Guy, who you can find at Anime Guy Kurosaki and the number 1 on YouTube, Penguin Mage, Sharkmon, Ishbo Bamba, Hiro Alato, who is at Hiro Alato on Twitter, Jason Morosky, Ryuchi, who is Frostmeratic on Archive of Our Own, Stephen Reeves, who is at Wildwing64 on Twitter, Kaidawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Chisai, who you can find at Chisai236 on Tumblr, Corey, Kyle, Delady Bugman, whose anime blog you can find at baguburagu.wordpress.com, Small Wolfie, who is on Tapastic as Small Wolfie and has a comic there called Eden of Melancholy, Tom, Glitchcoat, Azrael McCool, Nicholas, Gene Hackmon, Matthew, Anthony, who is at AntoClassic on Twitter, Lisbeth, who is Elecmon on Tumblr, Sithobi, Ellie Vorg, who is Ellie Vorg on Tumblr, and Sporky McForkinspoon.
You can also make a donation on our PayPal, which can be found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Edgemon. Make sure to let us know for the podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.